I want to be Anil's good girl, Kunpan whispered while looking down at her loosely interlocking hands on her lap. Her two thumbs were circling each other, indicating her subconscious contemplation. I don't want to worry, Anil. I reached out and grabbed Pilantita's thin hand, as if the suffering is truly permeable through the senses. I wish to absorb all of Kunpin's pain and make it my own. Don't blame yourself like that, okay? I kissed Pilantita's oval forehead affectionately. I know that Kunpin is trying so hard. Pilantita's tears welled up once more. She approached me slowly, wrapping me in her embrace, as if she feared my body might disintegrate into dust, until Kunpin spoke again with a trembling voice. That silent embrace was wet with her tears for a moment on my shoulders. Have you eaten anything, Anil? It's difficult to suppress my tears when I hear the raspy voice of an ill person asking a strong person in such a concerned tone. I can eat Kunpin's leftover porridge, and I might be full. I smiled wide as I could. I also ate some bread a while ago. This time, can I feed Anil? Kunpin murmured with a voice barely audible. Her small face nestled against my chest. Why would you want the sick person to do the feeding? I would be embarrassed if others found out. I replied, chuckling affectionately. You don't have to make it public to anyone. The lovely face, which had just withdrawn from my chest, wore an expression of mild annoyance. Anil wouldn't want to upset the ill person. It's not that I want to avoid upsetting the ill. I gently raised Pilantita's finger and placed it against my lips affectionately. I must say that I do not wish to offend Kunpin anymore. Did Anil prepare all the necessary stuffs? On my final night at the Pine Palace, Pilantita inquired as she moved from the guest room to my bedroom for the third night. Everything's fine. Have you separated your winter coat to wear when you arrive at the airport? The weather there is colder than here. I have, I replied with a gentle smile as I moved to embrace her slender waist from behind, aiming to reassure her. Don't worry, Kunpan. How can I not worry? She reached out and tenderly stroked my upper arms, as if lost in the thought. The deeper I love, the more I worry. Upon hearing that, I tightened my embrace significantly, as if attempting to meld our bodies into one. But I love Kunpin more. Kunpin gave me a loving smile as soon as she heard me bragging like that. Can't you allow me to love Anil more? Once? I'm just telling the truth. Kunpin chuckled and planted repeated kisses on both of my cheeks, treating me like a girl, before gently running her hand over my lips and speaking in a hoarse voice. Let's go to bed. Anil must wake up early tomorrow. Yes, I obeyed her. Can you not turn off the lamp tonight? Said Pilantita. I was about to extend my hand to switch off the lamp at the head of the bed, just as I did every other night. Tonight, I want to see Anil clearly. Okay. That was the cue for me to answer. And then I settled down next to Kunpin, who had shifted to lie on the same pillow as usual. Pilantita's clear brown eyes met mine, and her beautiful face, bathed in the gentle yellow light of the lantern, wore an expression of such sorrow that I couldn't look away. Unconsciously, she ran her fingers across my face, tracing from my forehead to my temples, then my eyelids, down to the nose bridge, over my cheeks, and finally she lingered around my lips for a moment. Pilantita gently shifted her position, settling herself over me. I couldn't help but smile, realizing that I was now held by this bashful individual who had never initiated a romantic affair between us before. What are you smiling about? Kunpin asked but didn't wait for my response. She uses her warm tongue to taste and explore my lips, little by little, akin to a kitten eagerly lapping up milk from a large bowl. The cat's little tongue starts to taste my chin, earlobes, and neck mischievously. My heart flutters with every temptation made by Kunpin. I reached up and caressed the back of her head inextricably. The other hand pulled her nightgown high above her waist before caressing her smooth and sleek hot flesh passionately. Now I attempted to move my hand to remove the lady's garment, to move down frustratingly. At that moment, Kunpin bit down firmly on my lower lip, as if she wanted to restrain my mischievous still hands. Tonight, Anil must remain still to please me. Kunpin's raspy voice took on a commanding tone as she removed my clothes entirely to the brim of my torso, which is straddled under her fully dressed torso. Yet it was frayed, which only added to her allure. Pilantita's gaze lingers on my body from head to toe. As a result, I feel a rush of embarrassment, causing me to bite my lips to restrain myself. Anil is as beautiful as a jade statue, Pilantita said. But please know that Anil is a jade statue owned by me. Before I truly suffocated in front of her, Pilantita bent down and dragged the tip of her tongue along my body in the same imitative behavior I did teased her before. But her playful cat-like touch set my heart racing. It was impossible to anticipate the path that Pilantita's warm tongue would take. All I know now is that she was marking me, as if she finds pleasure in every inch. I held my breath every time I experienced the girl's urge. My exposed senses quiver, my two hands wrapped tightly around the back of the person on top before calling out Kunpin's name embarrassingly. Kunpin? Kunpin couldn't respond because her mouth was occupied. She lifted and kissed me everywhere, like a child had a toy. I reach out and surrender. The image of Kunpin biting her lips firmly fills me with irresistible affection, especially now that she used her fingers in an unexpected manner. I flinched. The pulsating sensation surged forward and persisted until I noticeably arched my body to experience the sensation uncontrollably. My hands gripped the sheets inadvertently, a tingling sensation that occasionally decelerates, at other times accelerates that I have never experienced before, causes me to catch my breath intermittently. Soon my body is heavy and hot. It's liberating and soaring to the highest peak I have never felt before. Kunpin possessively laid over me and embraced my body that was happily climaxing. She softly expressed her love in my ear with a continuous tender voice before giving me one more gentle kiss on the lips. I have marked all over Anil's body. Go back there. Anil can't hug out with anyone else, Pilantita said, lovingly caressing her fingers on my nose bridge. Kunpin accused me? I said, before moving up to take possession of Pilantita. Besides Kunpin, I have no one. But for the same reason, I reached out. This time, can Anil mark Kunpin? I, who had spent the entire night in a state of half sleep and half wakefulness, finally decided to sit up beside the bed. It was not yet dawn, and I tried to be as quiet as possible to avoid waking the person next to me, who had been crying softly for the most of the night. Yet Pilantita was conscious almost as soon as I moved my body. Anil woke up so early in the morning? Sleep a little longer. The warm body sat up and hugged me from behind, her torso pressed against my back until a warm sensation surged in my chest. Anil didn't sleep well, so I'll get up and wash my face. I gently caressed the owner's upper arms as I spoke. Can't you stay? I. Pilantita tightened her embrace on my waist even tighter. I don't want Anil to go anywhere. As soon as Kunpin expressed thoughts that had evidently been concealed deep within her mind for the first time, I felt something hot and wet slitting on my back. Pilantita cried so many times last night, I can't count. Kunpin, Anil will be back soon. I turned around and hugged the warm body anxiously. I promise. I'm worried. Pilantita glided her hand on the red bruise she marked on my body early in the evening with a gloomy, absent minded gesture. Will Anil have anyone to replace me there? Anil is so charming. Will you remember that you have given yourself to me? Of course. I spoke up before snuggling my face down to Pilantita's white neck irresistibly. For the rest of my life. I have never seen anyone in sight other than Kunpin. I can only mention that, and then kissed Kunpin's thin shoulder. The gentle sensation of her smooth torso and tears stirred up the desire to comfort her with another gentle love activity. But in this love chapter, Pilantita reacts significantly differently every time. A kiss that gets wet with tears, the body trembling while weeping, low voices sobbing. I felt an intense mixture of tenderness and longing, as if I feared my body might vanish before her eyes. I remember Kunpin's every move, bending down and hugging her tightly. When I realized that Pilantita had reached the peak of happiness, I reached out and gently caressed her shiny black hair and bent down to kiss the edges of her eyes, soaked with tears to comfort her. I will soon come back, I whispered softly in Kunpin's ear in a simple and short sentence, anticipating a promise. Kunpin, please wait for me. That's it for this chapter, guys, and I'll see you soon with special chapters of Loyalpin Volume 1. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. It really helps support the channel and keep me motivated. Thank you.